Welcome to the Etihad Cargo Connections with 10 Furlongs magazine. I'm your host today, Aurélien Germinal. Today we are welcoming Ian Williams, a prominent figure in horse racing. With an impressive start to 2024, Williams discusses his elevated win and place rates over jumps and the unique approach of blending flat and jump racing. Silent Film's triumphs in the UAE adds to the conversation, shedding light on future plans for the GCC season. Williams will share with us insights into training, silent film, and hints at upcoming newcomers. From team goals to personal motivation, our discussion with Ian Williams will capture the essence of his racing prowess and leaves us with a playful question about what defines him. So, Ian, how are things going?
Yeah, things are going well. It's been a great start to the year. Horses are in good form, both in the UK and abroad. So, yeah, having a great start and just got back from a few days in Dubai, so feeling good.
Oh, that's very good so far. So you've started 2024 with a bang, and your win and place rate, over the jumps is up when compared to the previous 5 seasons. What do you put that down to?
I think we almost planned to start the year well. The jumpers, we've been quite fortunate that we had a few that are well handicapped and in good form, so they've done very well. And the flat horses, we took an approach at the end of the summer that we'd have plenty to go on with the beginning of the new year. And that's what we've done. And fortunately, it's working out really well.
Okay. And how do you go about maintaining that level?
Well, it's difficult, but it's easier if you have more horses.
Sure.
So we haven't got our biggest string that we've had at the moment, but we've got a nice string that's in good health. And the team are working well to keep them that way. And it's picking the races and just ensuring that the horses remain in good health and good form.
Enough. Unlike many trainers, you're a trainer who likes to kind of mix it up by running horses on the flat and over the fences. Why do you do that?
I think we're not fortunate enough to have a lot of Group 1 horses or Derby horses or Gold Cup horses. So the way what we like to do is make the most of each and every individual that we have. So if we feel a horse has maybe got to the top of its ability on the flat, then we'll maybe send it hurdling or vice versa if they're capable of doing both things. But sometimes a flat horse can actually be almost revamped and lightened, recharged from doing a little bit of jumping. And sometimes, like all of us, not doing the same thing every day is far more exciting than just the everyday challenge of doing the same thing. So we like to school the horses a lot, even if they do or don't run over hurdles. So ultimately, if we decide a 3 or 4-year-old jumping hurdles might give it a nice change, it's already done a little bit of schooling along the way, so the change doesn't take too long to be effective.
Okay, and personally speaking, do you have a preference between flat and jump racing?
Absolutely, I have a passion for jump racing. I love jump racing. It's a wonderful sport, but from a business perspective, flat racing is far more profitable and far more sustainable in the current markets. If I could have a similar sort of string over jumps that we have on the flat, that would be really exciting, but we don't. So ultimately, we stick with the loving the jumping, but business is flat racing, and that's where we're pressing forward and getting on with it.
Okay, very good. I'd like to talk with you a little bit more about silent film. So the impressive silent film, especially, you must have been shocked with him the past, last Friday. First of all, congratulations on that.
Certainly not shocked. He's actually his first start for us at Royal Ascot was a really good start, and we were pleased with him. And we sort of we developed him through. He was our horse to take to Dubai. Dr. Jim Hay and Victor have become supporters in recent years, and they're very keen on having runners in Dubai. So it was always the challenge with him. In between, he actually went to Budapest, and Frankie rode him there to win in a lower level contest. But he performed very well that day, and then was put to one side specifically to run in the Lord North Handicap. So not surprised. I was surprised how big a price he was, to be fair.
Okay.
But he ran a huge race, and it was just Jamie Osborne's horse that managed to sneak by him inside. I thought we got a little bit mugged, but yeah, he ran a huge race, and it sets him up for the other handicap back there in the middle of February, which he should go very well in.
Okay, definitely very impressive for sure.
Yeah,
how did he come out of his 1800 meters Lord North handicap run?
Yeah, he came out of that really well. He was very fresh the next day. He lost 6 kilos, which in the temperatures that they were racing, it was quite cool that evening in Dubai, so it wasn't extraordinary temperatures. But yeah, he lost 6 kilos, but he put that back on very quickly. And now
Okay.
we'd just like to build him up and let him, as long as you get them rehydrated quickly, they generally recover quite well. And he would appear to. I saw him on Friday, and he was in very good nick with himself.
So Silent Film is a horse that appears to love running in the UAE, having won in Bahrain and also winning at Meydan while placing twice also. Why do you think that?
I think he doesn't get too frustrated by traveling,
Okay.
and he enjoys a sound surface, and has a level of ability that's very compatible with those races. So I think those are the two of his biggest assets are the ability to travel and the ability to cope with fast ground. He likes a good strong pace, and staying an extra furlong, which is the furthest he's run over in his last 2 runs, is actually he's got home well, and it looks to be maybe possibly improving for that little step up in grip.
Okay. What would be his biggest weakness? What do you think?
I think he could do with carrying more condition. He could do with being a good doer like me. He could do with eating a little more, and just putting some condition on, so it would make him able to take a bit more work, and I could train him a little harder and possibly race him a little more often. So he doesn't lose particularly large amounts of weight for racing or for traveling, but he's not a horse that puts weight on easily, so you can't overwork in between or over racing. So you just need to treat him a little bit with big gloves.
Now let's talk a little bit about the GCC season. So in regards to that, what are your plans for him? For example, any plans for Qatar, Saudi, Bahrain,
Yeah,
or maybe
no, I think
no?
this year he'll probably be a one-trick pony, and he'll run in his second handicap in February. And in the back of my mind, speaking with his owner's manager, Alex Cole, there's probably an intention to run him in America at some stage during the summer. We haven't actually put that program together yet, but as he is a horse who likes to travel, and he is a horse that copes with fast ground, those two assets are something that I think we could put to good use in America.
Great. Well, that sounds very exciting for sure.
Yeah, no, it should be fun.
When you took over training from Charlie Appleby last year, did Charlie tell you much about him?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Charlie about purchasing him before we bought him, and he told us, what I'm telling you, that the horse behaves. He's a very good trainer, Charlie. He knows his horses, so our discussion was pretty much, this is what you're getting, and what do you want to do with him? And we knew what we were buying, and we knew what we wanted to do, and fortunately those things have worked out. To do what he did at Royal Ascot, to then go to the next real big plan, became taking him to Budapest, and then obviously to take him to Dubai. So he's actually put a tick on every one of the boxes that we had for him, and I hope he continues to do that.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about the training itself. Silent Film strikes us as a very gutsy game horse. What's he like to train?
I think he's gutsy in game. He survives on his freshness. He likes to be fresh. He likes to be well. He has quite a cheeky character, and the cheaper he is, the better form he's in, and he's a horse who gives plenty. So you have to try and just keep a handle on that, otherwise he'll do too much. So Meg, who's with him at the moment, spends a lot of time doing quiet exercise, does a lot of walking, and very little fast work. He's not a horse that takes much work. He's very clean, winded, and he's actually fairly straightforward to train.
Excellent. You did mention you might be taking him to America, more globally and along the way. What's next for him?
He'll definitely run in Dubai in February.
Okay.
That's his next start. After that, we'll decide whether we bring him back or whether we perhaps send him to Bahrain. But I think that's unlikely. I think he'll almost inevitably come back to the UK after his next race with some spring targets, possibly Chester and Royal Ascot. And then after that, we'll look at where we go to have some more fun and obviously give him opportunities to win his races.
Great. Do you have any newcomers maybe we should keep an eye on this year?
We always have newcomers. The old guard are always enemies still flying a good flag. You asked me about newcomers. We have a horse. I'm just going to have to look at my list now because I always forget this horse's
No
name.
worries.
I hope the owners aren't looking because they'll absolutely sacrifice me to the lambs. Sheridan was a horse that we bought in Arcana this year.
Okay.
He was a stayer, an Aga Khan bred stayer, a horse who did very well in France when he stepped up in trip. He's a horse who really suits our way of training and fits into I hope it suits our way of training, but really fits into a pattern of horses that we like to train and like to go on with. He'll be a stayer, and it would be nice if he turned into a sort of Melbourne Cup horse. He's got plenty of ability. It's just whether or not he reaches the sort of that level of ability and those glorious heights. But it would always be nice to have something to take back to. And we have a potentially nice youngster called Simeon, another horse that came out of the Aga Khans. He ran very well in his first step up on the trip. And moving forwards, he's got to find sort of 20 or 25 pounds, but feasibly he could find plenty during the spring, particularly when he gets on the grass. Looked a very backward horse by Australia. Certainly going to take some time, but his last run, his first step up in trip, was actually quite an impressive performance and quite a strong race. So looking forward to getting more into him.
Can definitely imagine that for sure. Now, what are your goals, especially for the team, this season?
I think we always like to improve, but we always like to have some nice shop window horses. So, as I said earlier, we don't have any sort of Group 1 horses, so we're dealing with really the bigger handicaps, the valuable races. So we try and target those races at Royal Ascot, at Glorious Goodwood, at the Chester May Festival. And then if we're successful with that, then we can always look forward to foreign travel in the autumn. And that's really it's just a hope that we maintain a number of good enough horses to be able to do that. And we always have to keep unearthing them. We don't have masses of yearlings, so we're always in effect buying second-hand stock and trying to buy those horses that maybe haven't had the opportunity to show their best because they're backward or not being as precocious as the people who initially bought them would have liked them to have been. So we're prepared to give them some time and build up their stamina and build up their strength.
Okay. From a personal point of view, Ian, what keeps you going every season?
I think it's the fear of failure more than anything that keeps you going. And not failure, but the fear of not having a decent horse, the fear of not being able to compete at a respectable level and be involved. I find in the spring now, since our national hunt string has reduced, I find the months of October and November are really difficult because the jump season's really getting going. And you know, everybody's having winners, and you know, the new boys, the Skeltons, the Ollie Murphys are you know just really hitting top form, and they're local to us, so it's always good to see their horses running very successfully. But you don't feel part of that, whereas in the summer when it's coming up to the May Festival or it's coming up to Ascot, Royal Ascot, Glorious Goodwood, we've generally got something to look forward to on the flat. But on the jumps, it's always a little bit too low key, and I'd love to have been in a position where we had something for the big jumping festivals. But for a few years now, we just haven't had anything of that ability to go to war with.
What would be your favorite jumping season? You know, you mentioned in the jumping season. What would be your favorite one?
My favourite race in the jumping season.
Sure.
I think we were fortunate enough to win at the Cheltenham Festival with Ballyalton a few years back. And that was one of the supporting races. I think to win a champion hurdle or a Gold Cup, I was very lucky when I worked with Francois Dumain and Jenny Pittman to win or be at the races when we've won Gold Cups. And that's incredible working for somebody to actually have that feeling. Doing it yourself would be absolutely amazing.
Wow.
So I think probably a champion hurdle or a Gold Cup, but definitely a race at the Cheltenham Festival.
Fair enough. We just would like to end on a very light note question. If you were a song, what would it be?
If I were
a song,
I'd have to leave that to somebody who knew music, because I'm not really a music fan whatsoever. So I'm going to have to disappoint you on that, because I can't actually give you a song that would represent me.
Maybe I should have asked, if you were a horse, who would you be?
If I was a horse, who would I be? Now, that's even more difficult. I'd love to be Franklin. What a performance that would be to have won all those races and then have a happy life. Who would I be? I'd love to be a really tough stare. So probably something like Stradivarius or Yates. I don't know, somebody who was tough and had that ability of coming back year after year and achieving.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Jan, for the interview today. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you. Good to speak.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.